I'm Rustin Gibbs.
And I'm Sherilyn.
And I'm Lo.
And we're here today to talk about fighting weight gain in America. My wife and I have been on our own weight loss journey, and we were inspired by our friend Lo. We were the one that, she's the one that introduced us to medical weight loss. And so we wanted to invite her to come and speak to us today.
Lo, I'm so glad you decided to join us on our podcast. I wanted to fill in a little bit of the story about how we met you. So Rustin and I just moved to Vegas. We were looking for a nail salon, and we met Lo, and she does our nails for us. And so we noticed that she was losing a lot of weight and that kind of thing. And so she was kind of the one that inspired us to start our weight loss journey, because we have been overweight for probably
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
And so we've been struggling to get the weight off. And so Lo is a big part of our story, because she's actually the one that modeled semaglutide for us. And so we're so glad you're here. And thank you for inspiring us to start our weight loss journey. So can you just tell us a little bit about where you were before you found semaglutide? What was your day like?
So I am in recovery. I'm 5 years clean. And part of my struggle throughout the transitions of like the recovery was my weight gain. Because when I start getting sobriety, I could not shed the weight. And I did intermittent fasting. I did all that stuff. And with my work schedule, I barely have time to myself. And I've tried a lot of things on the market. And then as I was doing nails, I noticed customer were coming in, and they were like, people were getting thinner too. And then I start asking them what they were doing. And then I start to do a little research. And then that's how I started my journey on weight loss.
So congratulations on your sobriety. That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Nice
Thank
job.
you.
Yeah, 5 years. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the weight started to be a problem for you when you decided to get clean. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, because when you are in your addiction, you don't really eat. You don't take care of your body. So when you recovered, I was like, overeating and a lack of exercise. My body was like just transitioning, but I was never heavy to begin with. So I was stuck in that area where like it caused low self-esteem, because I am now clean and I'm like spiritually, mentally okay, but my physical body is not matching how I see myself in the mirror. And that's what I struggle with every day. So I was lacking confidence because it kept reminding me of my past in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you decided to get clean, that's when you started to gain a lot of weight?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can relate to when I was overweight. I did have the low self-confidence, and I felt like, did you feel like you wanted to hide, and tell us a little bit more about how you felt when you were overweight.
I was struggling with clothes and the way I dress, because I have certain styles I like, and I could not like wear certain clothes to match how I usually style myself.
Uh-huh.
And then when my parents brought my old clothes back from Vegas to my new apartment, I wouldn't fit in it. So that was really like a wake up call. Like I need to do something. And no matter how much I was trying, I was stagnant. Like I could not, because I did intermittent fasting, and that worked for a little bit, but then my body kind of like just at a standstill. And then there's that extra weight that I could not get off no matter what. And working so much and being a single mom, I barely have time to go to the gym. And I do watch what I eat, but it's still hard, you know? Yeah. And it just, and when you're in sales and you're constantly selling a service, it's hard to like provide that service when you don't feel confident in yourself, you know?
Yeah, I can relate too, because I think when I was overweight, I started a computer job. And so I was sitting down all the time. And I'm sure that at the nail salon, you're just sitting down all the time, and that it was hard to get to the gym. You know, like you, I tried several different tactics to try to lose the weight, but it never seemed to work, right?
Yes.
Did you have that same thing, Rusty?
Yeah. You just, no matter what you try, it didn't work. As a man, I thought to myself, I'm getting a little out of shape. I need to go to the gym. That's what I thought, is that if I just work really hard and if I put in the effort, then it would work. But I think I got to an age and I just thought, I think we live in a society in America where we just don't have a good food culture here. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I think we're swimming upstream when it comes to fighting weight gain in America. And especially when you get to be, I won't ask you your ages, but when you get to my age, I'm 50, it just gets harder and harder. It's like your metabolism slows down. You can't do the things that you did when you were younger. So that was my experience. But I wanted to ask you, Lo, I think, if I'm not wrong, you did some modeling when you were younger. Isn't that right?
Yes, I did modeling back in Baltimore.
Okay.
And then, So I have those pictures too. So I'm always constantly living in the past, but my past wasn't too great. And when I look in the mirror, I didn't want to be in the right now either because I'm not happy with what I see in the mirror.
Yeah.
So yeah, but now like it's I don't know, it's like a coincidence I ran into that because of like the people I see in the networking I had at the nail shop. So yeah, like at least almost everyone I've touched have done some type of weight loss or looking for some way to like feel better about themselves, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as a former model, I'm kind of wondering, how did that feel for you when you said what your parents brought your clothes and they didn't fit anymore? And like, was that discouraging or like, how did that feel?
I was kind of angry,
Yeah.
but I gave a lot of my clothes away to my coworker at the time. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to go back into that because like I went from like a size like 3'5" all the way to 13.
Yeah.
And all my clothes were like small or like extra small. So it was just like creating this memory that I didn't want to. And then depression kind of, and then
Yeah. Yeah. So size 13. Can I ask you how heavy were you at the worst point?
So when I first got into rehab, because I did some time, and even in the facility when you're like immigration camp and all stuff, because I got my I got in trouble with the laws and I was locked up, and then I went to ICE, and in the facility there's not really nutritious food, it's just commissary, which is like whatever you eat, which is like all candies and like So I was about 165 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much do you weigh today?
I weigh about 115.
115.
Yeah.
So 50-pound difference.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. Well, congratulations on
thank you.
losing that weight. That's
Yeah.
amazing that you could do that.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you to go from like, so you mentioned when you were in detention, right? And that's when you really started to gain the weight. How long did it take you to put that weight on? And then how long did it take you to sort of reverse all of that?
I think it was about not even a year I was in there.
Okay.
And
So
then-
in less than a year, you gained like 50 pounds.
Because in there there's nothing to do but kill time. So you eat
Yeah.
and you sleep and eat and sleep to
Yeah.
the point where I can even climb up the top bunk of the cell. I have to be in the bottom bunk because I can't lift myself up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
my
Because they have
goodness.
like bunks in there. Yeah.
Oh, incredible. Wow, you did. Wow, that's amazing. So with your tiny body and you picked up this extra weight, you
Yeah.
couldn't even crawl up to the top bunk. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you decided to lose the weight, how long did it take you to kind of get back to where you wanted to be?
So I started intermittent when I was in rehab.
Okay.
That was one of my trigger was to go back is like the weight. And I met this my friend Brian, and he has like this like he was really fit, and I asked him, and he put me on to intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
And I did what he told me, but then after rehab, it didn't shift no more. No matter what I was doing, it just stayed there.
Yeah.
And then I started my journey last August on this semaglutide
Yeah.
compound,
Yeah.
and it started like working its way down. And I within like 4 or 5 months, I lost like about 25 pounds,
Yeah.
and then I maintain it. Like
Yeah.
what I like about it is it's actually shift my because I would crave sugar all the time. I was
Yeah.
always eating sugar because
Yeah.
I was used to when I was locked up.
Yeah.
So it kind of like suppressed the appetite, and then kind of like awareness of like what you're eating.
Yeah.
So when I got off of it, like I wasn't craving as much sugar. It's actually cut back my sugar intake a lot. I don't drink a lot of sodas.
Yeah.
I don't. I noticed a lot of my snacks were like fast food, and like in the nail shop, it's kind of busy.
Yeah.
So when I don't have like a regular eating schedule, so whatever was give me the sugar to drive, and
Yeah. So you're
that
living off of candy and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally did that too.
Yeah.
My favorite story is how bad it was for me as when I was a young mom, I lived off Diet Coke and sweetened condensed milk.
yeah,
So I'd have some of that, then my blood sugar would drop, and then I'd want another hit.
yeah.
So that was like the low point where, for me, where I was just constantly looking for the sugar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But it sounds like for you, it wasn't really like the exercise wasn't working. You said you're doing the intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't working, right? So when did you kind of realize I got to do something different?
When I was, because I tried cutting out everything, but the more I tried, like the more discouraged I get. I want, and then like when I see my customer walking in and they're actually changing how they look and how they feel,
Yeah.
and then that's when like it motivates me as like and then I start asking questions, and they introduce me to it. Yeah.
Wow.
So a lot of my
Wow.
customers, like, just the way they come in after a couple of times, like a couple of months, you see that confidence in them, and it's contagious. You want to feel that way, and you're like, "Hey, what's new? Like, what's going on there. Yeah.
Okay. So someone inspired you too.
Yes.
So just like you inspired us, somebody inspired you
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's great.
Okay.
Well, do you want to tell us how you came to America? Like a little bit of how long have you lived here in Utah?
In Utah, so when I first came to America, I was 8 years old. I was in Kansas City, Missouri. And
Okay.
then my family moved to Utah ever since then.
Um,
So in 1994 is when I first came to America.
mhm.
Yeah. And struggling with poverty.
Okay.
We're not really teach about nutrition. Like, like when you're poor, you just, food is food.
Yeah.
So growing up, McDonald's was not considered bad. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, so
Mhm.
my parents work a lot. So sometimes like we'll eat fast and we just eat to like not be hungry. But we really learned about nutrition and all that stuff. So that kind of like brought up a lot of things like, so I don't really know how to like separate food groups either.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I feel like family dynamics really play into how you eat as an adult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's true.
Well, you mentioned detention,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the
For the
audience doesn't know
listeners.
what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Oh, yeah.
And you can say as much or as little as you want to, but
And if you don't want to, you can also
Okay.
opt out.
Yeah. So when I was, I think about 26, I kind of like went through a divorce, and I got into like trouble with the law, and then I was like kind of like instead of going to connection, I turned to isolation, and just went down like a different path. And then I met my my third baby daddy, I should say,
Mhm.
and we were doing like, he was like doing what I guess hustling, whatever you call it.
Mhm.
And I learned that lifestyle, and then when you're around that all the time, that became familiar. And then an accident happened when he was like shot and all stuff, and he was paralyzed. And then that's when like I kind of like had a mental breakdown, and that's when I start like musing that my environment, external environment, seems so normal that I didn't think it's a big deal. So with one thing, it led to another. I start musing and then getting in trouble, and then I was put into drug court, and I keep on running from rehab because I wasn't ready to change.
Yeah.
So finally, the judge said, "We're going to lock you up in the rehab in jail called CATS because you
Oh,
keep
wow.
running." So I did
Wow.
4 months there, and that's when Trump changed the law
Yeah.
that misdemeanors, you
Yeah.
still get your green card taken away. So after my rehab program in jail, they took me to ICE facility in Colorado.
Okay.
And I was in the facility and everything was fine. It's like a camp. But then when the facility was so full at the time, they shipped you to like different jail. So I was actually locked up, but I wasn't against the law. It was like a transition. Like while you see the immigration judge, you
Yeah.
have to be in that camp.
Right.
So what I did was I found a cheat code because I translate for a lot of Asians. So anyone that came to America a certain amount of time,
Yeah.
you can't be deported.
Yeah.
But so I signed the deportation paper just to get out of jail early.
Okay.
Mhm.
So they revoked my green card.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay. Wow. That sounds really rough.
yeah.
Yeah. That must have been
Yeah.
What was your experience? That sounds like that was a really
It was really hard
challenging.
because they fly you out there
Yeah.
in cuffs and everything. But then when you're done, they release you. They just
Yeah.
take you to the Greyhound like with nothing.
Okay.
Like,
Oh, wow.
just whatever you came with. And then, yeah. And then you have to find your way back home.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
And it was like in the middle of winter and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, that was an experience. It's crazy. Because I didn't mind the camp but then people were waiting like a year to see a judge. And I was like, I don't want to be in this jail for
Yeah.
like a year.
Yeah.
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 Wow. Incredible. And then you said you're eating
I was eating-
crappy food
yeah.
and yeah. And that's when the weight gain all kind of
Yeah.
started and everything. And
Because you
Wow.
could order stuff food or and the food just get worse when they ship you to the other jail.
yeah.
And yeah, so all I ordered was all of it was candy. Just like
Yeah.
eat. I was eating my time away.
Wow. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing else to do.
Yeah.
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 And then you mentioned you're clean. You've been 5 years clean.
Yes.
So when did you decide that you were going to start turning this around?
When I went into psychosis,
Okay.
I shaved my hair off and everything. I was completely bald.
Yeah.
And that's the time, like, like I was like, had a realization you could like lose a lot of things and get it back. But when I lose my mind, I was really scared.
Yeah.
Because at times when I was in my psychosis, there was no drug in my system.
Okay.
And that's when I realized I need to stop now because I
Yeah.
could be permanently like this.
Okay.
And that's when my wake up call is because you can't fix. I don't know if you could fix it, but I was like hallucinating and like severely in psychosis. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And what did you do? How did you start to, did you get help or?
I turned myself in
Yeah.
Because I was in one psychosis, and then I was just tired. So I
Yeah.
just walked up to an officer and I said, "Officer, take me in. I'm tired. I just want to sleep." And he's
Yeah.
like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I am in drug court. I have warrants." So I turned myself in, and the judge gave me an option to do 6 months
Yeah.
and be done with the whole program.
Yeah.
And I asked her for one last chance. I said,
Okay.
"I actually turned myself in this time. Can I please have that chance to change my life? All I need is shelter and a safe place." And she said that every single time she put me to a rehab program,
Yeah.
I ran within 24 hours. And I was like, well, the difference was you had to look for me that time.
Yeah.
This time I actually went and turned myself in.
I brought myself in.
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
the whole rehab journey was scary too, because when I went to my first rehab, I went back into psychosis.
Yeah.
And they thought I was using drugs or whatever, but there was nothing in my system. That's when I realized this is it. Like
Yeah.
there's no explanation why I'm seeing all these things
Yeah.
without anything
Yeah.
in my system. Yeah.
Wow. And how are you doing today? You said you're clean 5 years. And do you still have any sort of like flashbacks from that, or any sort of episodes, or is that sort of all behind you now? And
So when I was changed my life, my caseworker always said, because I was still like with certain other people, but he'd say I have to change my environment. He's like, if you're at a barbershop long enough, you'll get a haircut.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I'd start to realize I need to like really cut everything off, because there was
Yeah.
like a life where I didn't use drugs, and there's a life that I used drugs,
Yeah.
but those two don't match, because I was at that point 165 pounds bald.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to go back to my friends that
Yeah.
they heard I did bad but never seen it.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go back to that. And
Yeah.
then I couldn't go back to what I used to. So I was kind of like in a cocoon, and then I have all these weight gain and all that struggles within myself. And I was really lucky to run to a good boss.
Yeah.
And everyone that walked through that shop, all the clients, like I met you guys,
Yeah.
Mm.
the connection is really real. Like I'm right place, the right time. And I even remember telling my boss, I was like, "I'm not ugly, I'm just broke." Trust me.
Yeah.
Because I was always have a backpack, and I would like, take the tracks and bus everywhere. And I told her the whole truth. And
Yeah.
she actually worked with me and like
Yeah.
helped me. Like she'd give me rides home, and
Oh,
she like
wow.
let me take all my drug tests I needed. And I graduated, and I've been there ever since for 5 years now.
Oh, wow.
So that shop kind of like became a second home with the connection of people, everything I met.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So she really believed in you.
Yeah.
Oh,
She
wow.
gave you a
Yeah.
second chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
she
Because
really
you
great.
down
because
on
you
me, yeah.
you couldn't work because of the trouble with the law.
Mhm.
And so how did she, she supported you in doing that?
So what happened was when I was in sober living, it's kind of like a transition program after rehab. So
Uh-huh.
if you stay there, you share a room with like 5, 6 other girls, and it transitions you into the real world. So
Okay.
you could stay there and live rent free if you use that money that you make towards like a future, or paying off your bill, your fines and stuff to get your life back.
Yeah.
So I was using that 6 months of rent free, sharing a room. And I worked at a Polo Burger for 2 weeks to get my now license back. So I worked there for 2 weeks, got my first paycheck, then got my now license. Then I had a friend that used to work with Sammy, that's my boss. And I went there and asked her for a job. But at the time she had it was really busy. Like I didn't think she would hire me, but yeah, she took a chance, and everyone kind of like, "Why did you hire her? She's like this and that." But she didn't see me that way, And then the fact that she was understanding. It helped a lot. Like to have someone that give you a chance at life, she gave me the first shop key. I never been given a key to a shop.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Here, Lo, you can come and open," and that gives you more motivation. Like someone see the good in you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
She trusted you.
Yeah.
She trusted you.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
helping you look to the future. So
Yeah.
at that point, were you kind of looking back still, or were you kind of looking forward?
I felt like when you put yourself in the right alignment and the right choices, things just align and new doors keep opening. As I work there, I start to because the opposite of addictions is connection.
Yeah.
And every time I'm in that chair, I built a connection with the customer.
Oh, neat.
And throughout and I was struggling a lot because I never had normal conversation it's not based on drugs, criminals, or anything like that. For the past years, I messed up my life. So I was still in therapy, outpatients, and my therapist said, "Protect your story like a baby.
Okay.
Let the customer get to know who you are before you share what you've been." Because when the customer's like, "Oh, where did you work before?" I have this 3-4 years gap where I wasn't doing
right.
good with my life.
Mhm.
So I was struggling a lot, and then I wasn't confident at all. So like I learned, so it was kind of like a perfect bridge with like me being outpatients and then having all these customer come in. I could practice conversation and
Yeah.
connect with all different type of people. And the cool part is almost every person in my chair has some type of story that I could have relate to. It's kind of,
Yeah. That's so true.
yeah.
Yeah. That's so neat. Yeah, I really loved it when you opened up and shared your story with me. And it really made me feel connected to you. And I feel like that's one of the benefits of being in the nail salon, is like just
Yeah.
one-on-one. So
Yeah.
that was good. I remember in the nail salon, you told me that you really healed your relationship with your children.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was so impressed by that. Tell us a little bit about how you did that.
So I kind of like, when I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, I kind of like distanced myself from my kids and disappeared. And at the time, it's the best choice I could give for them. But at the same time, it's not the best. It's like the best options, but it still caused damage. They were like, they felt abandoned. They felt like they're not loved. And when I got my daughter back, we went through a lot of therapy. She had individual therapy because I was working 7 days a week trying to rebuild my life. But at the same time, that's what my parents kind of did when we first came to America. So it's like the history is repeating itself and I see the pattern. I was like, look, I didn't have the emotional support. And that's what I turned my life down, was like always finding easy outlets, fix or whatever.
Yeah.
So I had more resources now because of my mistakes. So I offered her, we find a therapist. We were looking around therapist shopping, and I told her, I was like, look, I know that you don't trust me, but I'm going to give you a safe space to like share your emotion with someone else, to give you the perspective while I'm working. And that helped. And then when she was working on that, have someone to talk to, our relationship was like, hurt people. So I was like triggering her, she's triggering me. And that was really hard. And she told me, like, she wasn't mad, but then I took the step to like better myself. So I put myself back in therapy.
Okay.
And then also we have family therapy. So we did a lot of therapy the first year she lived with us. Yeah.
How old was she?
She was 14.
14. And then you have how many other children?
I have 2 more.
2 more.
Yes. I have one that comes, he's my son, he's 12. And then I have my youngest one that stays in Vegas with my parents.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents had him since he was a baby. When I came, because I used to live in Vegas when me and his dad were breaking up, but I came to visit his dad.
Yeah.
And when I was over here, that's when he got shot and all that stuff. And then my son kind of stayed with my parents and they raised him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how are your kids doing today? Tell us a little bit about them.
My daughter's thriving. She actually graduated high school early, and she's going to get her
That's
master
exciting.
esthetician. Yeah.
Really?
In July. And she turned 18 in August. So I was like really happy to see that like I was able to help pay part of her school
Okay.
and do all that stuff. I didn't think I could do that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then your other children?
My second son, Jojo, he comes over every other weekend. He's really funny. He's like, he's into cars right now, but yeah.
How old is he?
He's 12. He's gonna be 13
12.
this year, yeah.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Each of my kids have their own personality, and they're all like from different, they don't even look like each other because they're like from different race too.
Yeah.
So like, it's like, yeah. So I learned like, they show me my weakness and strength,
Mhm.
Yeah. And to have that ability to bond with them again is amazing.
Yeah. And then you're really close with them now, right?
Yes.
So during all that therapy, I remember you saying at the nail salon that you were able to heal all those relationships. So you're really close with them.
Yes. I never felt like I was loved. And having to build that relationship at my daughter, and it was perfect timing because I had finally got my own apartment, had a steady job, and have enough money so that when my daughter comes visit me, I was able to like provide all that stuff for her. And then learning what unconditional love is. I call them my love awareness because they always shine lights where I don't see it. And yeah, and our home is like, yeah, we feel safe and loved. They always say it's peaceful. Even her friends come over and they like it,
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
That
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's a total transformation.
Yeah, total
right? From
transformation.
the situation you were describing before, the totally, sort of a broken home situation, right? You were unavailable because you were caught up in your addiction and everything like that. And then you fast forward to today, you've totally flipped that around,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
You
That's
are
amazing.
amazing,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I feel like since I got on the compound, I feel like now I look in the mirror, I mentally, spiritually, and physically all connected.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
it was just like it wasn't, And in therapy, they always have you check in how you feeling mentally, spiritually, and physically. And I feel like I'm all like in alignment. And then, and that's when like I wanted to like start to make vision board. And I remember asking you when you were traveling to Japan, please bring me back a cherry blossom. And that's how the conversation started.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
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 That was really neat.
Yeah, the listeners won't know that story, but Charilyn and I were traveling to Japan, and we were getting her nails done before the trip, and that's when you two started talking about vision boards.
Yeah,
right?
you were asking me to bring you back something, and I didn't understand why, right? So tell us about your vision board. Like, what does it mean to you?
So part of the vision board I realized is you also put things that you want to manifest and align and kind of like where you want your future, but also physical things that people, friends, and places have touched, so to make their energy more like in the present. And then I also have put things I've accomplished. Like I put every 2-3 years I go get a chip to remind me of where I how far I've came. Like I just got my 5-year chips like last month. And and then so I put that on my vision board. So it's kind of like a mixture of everything, and then also give me a vision of where I want to go in life. Yeah.
Amazing.
So what's on your vision board now? If you don't mind sharing.
So on my vision board, real estate.
Real estate.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did have like pictures of like snippets of like, like pictures of like celebrities, bodies or like hair that I want to met. Yeah. But so I want to get into real estate. I've been reading a lot more about that because for some reason I read a lot of spiritual and self-help book, but with numbers I don't click. So I'm trying to learn the finance of things.
Yeah.
And that's been still a challenge, but that's like a new journey.
New journey.
Yeah.
So your daughter's graduating, it's being an esthetician, right?
Yes, she's getting her master, yeah.
Yeah, she's getting her master's. And then would you ever tell me and the Nelson that you're kind of in a place where you want to start doing something new yourself?
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Because I feel like I'm not the low before the addiction, during the addiction, after addiction, because I step onto that role as a mom, as a provider. And my daughter has her own goals.
Okay.
She's going to graduate, and everything that she says she's going to do, she has followed through. So she wants to like move out and all that stuff. And it's going to be an empty nest. And then I sit there like, who am I really? Like, what do I want? And then that's when I was like, my whole identity kind of was becoming Jesse's mom.
Yeah.
So I put myself back in therapy. And then I'm like try to put myself out there more to like see what my passion is, where I need to go and what it is. And then I would like to set out a blueprint of where my next step would be and get to know the me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at the same spot where my daughters are just getting married. My daughter's going to be graduating and moving out. So it's interesting that we're kind of going through the same phase where I used to be the kid's mom,
Yeah.
and now I've got to kind of rebrand myself,
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then this kind of leads us to why we're doing the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of a new beginning for all of us.
I think so.
know?
Yeah, we're at the start of a new journey here.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, why did you agree to come talk to us today?
I always was inspired on like how I crave relationship. I've been divorced twice and all that stuff. So, and you guys always coming together to spend your quality time together. And then how you raise your kids, and then how you travel, and then like you guys have roles, how you guys things, and that you guys always inspired me secretly without me telling you. So when I come in, like I look up to you guys. I want that, and then when we share, we have similarities, like, like your kids all like, so like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a connection, and it's kind of like I guess when things are supposed to align, it just happens. Yeah. I felt a connection. I share everything with her, and then and she inspired me because I feel like she sees something in me that sometimes I don't see in myself. And and then you took your time to come and talk to me, and it just when you lose everything. It's not about the money no more. It's like the time, like, when people take their time to get to know you and in exchange of energy. And that's what you guys give me all this time. Like you guys been coming to see me and talk to me. That connection. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So you inspired her. She inspired you. I don't know how I'm involved here, right?
You just paid for the nails.
I just paid for, I just paid for the nails. That's what
You're
I
the resource.
That's what I did. No, that's great. But I think you're right, that it is about relationships. It's about connection with people. I'm inspired by your story today. I really admire your bravery to be so vulnerable about your story. And I think it is inspiring to people. And I hope our listeners will see that too. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about what was your actual experience with semaglutide when you started doing that? Because I know people have a lot of, this is a show about weight loss.
Yeah.
And I know people they've seen the commercials, they've heard, they know that celebrities are taking this. And I think people know a little bit about it, but they're not quite sure what it is. And I'm sure there's lots of questions out there. So I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit, like when you started taking semaglutide, like what happened? What did you notice in your body? Like did you feel good? Did you feel bad? Were there side effects? What was that like for you?
I think the first month, the only side effect I felt was the nausea. And of course, when you go, they're going to tell you a list of like all these side effects that could happen. So like that create a fear. But since with my background, the things I already put in my body.
Oh, that was nothing, right? You're like, this is so easy.
I said, thanks for the label, because the stuff I put didn't come with labels. But, so I took the risk, and then I was kind of like not telling people about it because, like I don't want people to change what I decided to do.
Yeah.
So, and certain people didn't really like the aspect of it because what they hear and all the stuff,
Yeah.
And so I started doing it, and then I told a couple of them, like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Then when the progress happened, they're like, how did you do it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's when I was like, okay, I did this. But I think the only severe side effects is sometimes you do get constipation, but that does I take Miralax.
Okay.
But the nausea kind of went away.
Yeah.
And then, I didn't really have any side effects.
Nothing
really.
too serious.
No,
then.
nothing.
Not compared to what you've been through.
No.
Yeah.
This is icing on the cake.
No psychosis.
No
Nothing like this.
psychosis,
Okay,
nothing.
yeah.
I didn't lose sleep. I didn't do anything. Yeah. Sometimes like when you need a higher dose, you do get a little bit tired.
Yeah.
But you get hungry faster. But that's but then like it teach you, like, so if I dose on Wednesday, by Monday I'm hungry, then I up my dose. So it's kind of like teach you to be aware of your body too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how do you take an injection? Is that how you do it? Or?
Yeah. So I do an injections in my stomach right here once a week.
Okay.
Yeah. And I time it. But I notice what helps it is you would like get hungry, but you don't overeat, because I overeat because food is good.
Yeah.
And then I just snack. But like it's actually changed my habits. Like
Okay.
I don't do that no more. Like I actually my stomach now, like I can feel when I'm full. Before I didn't have that awareness. I just eat and eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it helps me in a lot of ways. It actually changed my habits of eating.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had your cravings for sugar went away and all that.
And then I actually know when my stomach is full instead of like just eat. Yeah. I can feel my stomach expand and like, okay, pause, stop. Yeah.
Did you miss food at all? Were you kind of like, oh, I wish I was hungry because I really like food? Or it just, did your mind change too? Or?
First 2 months was hard when when it's time to redose. I would just eat. And then after like doing it for 6 months, it become less of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it got easier.
Yes.
Yeah. And more consistent.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's amazing. And did you have, I think other things that people worry about, like, because, you lost 50 pounds, did you notice, like, did you have saggy skin, or were there anything like sort of about your body that you were worried about,
I feel like, because I think it's because I've done sports growing up and stuff like that. So to me, I didn't have any saggy skin.
Yeah.
I mean, like, sometimes like certain areas like could be improvement, but that's because I'm not working out at all.
Yeah.
So like, I think like if I go to the gym and tone up with it, then but I don't have any, and it wasn't like drastically I lost all that. It was like since last August,
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's just because I don't know if the viewers know that when we're filming this, but that would be like, what would that, 5, maybe 10 months or so to lose 50 pounds.
50 pounds, yeah.
5 pounds a month. That's pretty safe, seems like. Yeah.
And and then the maintenance shot, but the rumor was like if you stop, you start to gain all this weight back. And I feel like you could always go back and do the maintenance shots. And but since like I've maybe gained 2-3 pounds, but when I do go to a certain extent, I do the maintenance shot. But but I don't really rarely do that. Yeah.
Okay, so you're in maintenance mode now.
Yes.
So I mean that's important for people to understand. Like it got easier.
Yes.
right? And then you could kind of take the drug. So you do it less frequently, or do you smaller dose, or
So I do. I went from every week to every 2 weeks, and then
Okay.
once a month. And then now, like I feel like if it's unmanageable, instead of wait until I hit, go back to all that weight, I would just go back on it to like keep it off. Yeah.
okay, but it's pretty manageable now.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's kind of become part of your lifestyle now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because
That's
you got a
amazing.
habit of like weighing yourself and checking in.
Mhm.
So you kind of like pay more attention to your intake and then your body. And then so you kind of like catch on and know
Yeah.
you're gaining or like you need to do something to
Yeah.
adjust.
Yeah.
But before, when you don't have that, I feel like I just consume and then I open my eyes like, whoa, how did I gain all that? Now you
Yeah.
kind of like shift
Yeah.
your awareness on that.
Okay. And then as it got easier, did it get fun again? Like to realize you could fit in your old clothes?
Yes,
And
it's super fun.
Yeah.
I get more energized too.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
I'm not like more sluggish. Shopping is more fun.
yeah.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, and
You get
then
to wear
like
the cute clothes again.
Yes.
And
I'm
yeah.
more outgoing too
Yeah.
at the shop.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You feel more confident to talk
Yeah.
to people. And
Yeah.
do you think that people looked at you differently? Like if you think about when you were at your heaviest and like where you are now, do you feel like people sort of treated you different based on how you looked and how you felt? You
With
know?
hair or without hair. So like I was overweight and no hair. That was
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
And then when I was like in that stage where my hair was kind of growing back and stuff, but I feel like people treat you how you treat yourself.
Okay.
That's what I felt. And
Yeah.
there was something that like my past didn't give me the confidence, my body didn't give me confidence. And so like I kind of like felt like I was more like just go with the flow, kind of like in the background person. I wasn't shining. And then as I built that confidence and started to lose the weight, I get more confidence and be out more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's
And
great.
then but you do I mean, it's easier to upsells. I mean, I shouldn't say upsell at all
Yeah,
shop, but it's
yeah,
easier
yeah,
to like ask
yeah.
a customer, would you like to try this? Because they see
Yeah.
the confidence, and then yeah.
Yeah.
But before I wouldn't do that because I
Right.
like, yeah,
Right.
like, what do you want? I just do it. I wouldn't just
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
suggestions.
So
yeah.
it's been good for business.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So for people that are listening, that run businesses and so forth, it's like your confidence went up. You were able to, engage people more deeply, get those connections that you're talking about, and then people naturally wanted to do more business with you, right?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if people won't realize this. We don't live close to your nail salon.
Oh, really?
We don't. We're not anywhere near.
Yeah.
We actually drive to come see you,
Yeah.
right?
You and Sammy.
and to see
Yeah.
Sammy, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it is about those connections. But it was what we were saying earlier is that, we saw you were doing something positive in your life and we wanted that too, So I think for people that are thinking like, how's this going to affect their life if they try this? It sounds like you're living proof. I don't know if people realize we'll do a different show about our story, but
Yeah.
you've lost about 50 pounds as well.
Yeah.
Right. I've lost, I think 35 or
Mhm.
so. Yeah. So it's a big life changer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When you were, did you go into the clinic to get the drug, or tell us about what happened when you went to the clinic?
So, I don't know. So when I started, my Botox lady does it at her house, and
Okay.
I kind of asked her about it, and she kind of like told me that she'll let me try it first, and then she lost a lot of weight,
Oh,
yeah. So I was like, well, like, and she's like, yeah, it's totally safe, and she kind of break down because she's been a nurse practitioner for like 13 years, so she kind of break it down for me, and then I just go to like the me and my best friend go to the clinic in Orem, and then you could do it like over a Zoom call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
So it's
And-
pretty easy then.
yes, it's pretty easy
It wasn't like a big process or anything. You just,
because
you know.
my best friend and her mom went there, and then my Botox lady kind of, I always go to her for like guidance on like what to do and what not to do with the trend wise, and she told me that it's really safe, and
Yeah.
she's been on it. Yeah.
yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And I think like almost like I feel like there's two sides to the coin. Like,
Mhm.
like I say for people to make their own discernment and go
Yeah.
do it because
Yeah.
I don't regret it. I like loved it. It changed my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And when I told my family about it, they kind of get scared because of what other people were pushing like on
Yeah.
the side effects. But I feel
Yeah.
like everything has side effects,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to balance that out and make your own decision, right?
Yes.
But you don't regret it.
No, I
Yeah.
loved it. Like I
Yeah.
tell everyone, like I like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you were in that situation again, you would do it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I would say pick your hard, because it's, you can either deal with some of the side effects, nausea, constipation, or that kind of thing. Or you can feel, the other hard is, keep trying to work out, keep trying to eat right, not getting any results,
Or
or
not to mention the diseases that are
yeah, the
associated with
diseases,
obesity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, a little bit of nausea, diabetes. What do I want to pick here? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, so
yeah.
I would say choose your hard. Use discernment, but then also each path is going to have its challenges.
Yes.
So I think you have to kind of choose which path. And for me, I chose it because I knew that it was going to lead to a better result than, just continuing down what I've been trying. So,
Because after you try so many plans to lose weight, you get discouraged after a while.
Yeah.
And then you're like, is this it? Like,
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
know why. And I am 37. So, like, seeing my daughter goes to the gym, the results she gets doesn't give me the same benefits. And I've tried everything from like, workout at home and all that stuff. It wouldn't go off. And so sometimes I just need that little kicker, and that what helps,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned that you said that your stomach never said that it shut off.
Yeah.
Did you ever seen the Oprah Winfrey episode where she talks about food noise?
No.
Or maybe could you explain that?
Well, Oprah Winfrey, she was a board member for Weight Watchers for a long time, and she struggled with weight her whole career. And she's documented all that and released all that. But she stepped down from the board of Weight Watchers because of semaglutide. Is that she wanted to do a special on GLP-1s, which is what these drugs are called, and how they can help people lose weight. And so she did a special on ABC where she interviewed doctors, and she, similar to how we're talking to you, she talked to people that have tried it, and they went through the side effects and the benefits and things like that. And she pointed out that her experience was, and many people have the experience, that it seems like there's some kind of dysregulation between the hormones in the gut and the brain. And so for those people, they just have constant, she called it food noise, but it's just
Yeah.
like constant hunger cravings, sugar
Like
cravings all the time.
You never got it sounded like what you're describing, you never got the signal that your stomach was full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that you had that yourself.
Yes, I have that. Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
because I know when my coworker and stuff cook for me, and like in Asian culture, they over serve you with like big portion. I would eat all of that and more because it just, I don't know when to stop.
You want
Or
to
like,
stop.
or when to stop snacking,
Mhm.
and but like being on this, it's kind of like, I don't know, like it has paused.
Yeah.
I do feel hungry, which is like, you're not starving where you're starving yourself. You do feel hungry, but you're not consuming or over consuming the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same for me. I feel like I have the opposite problem where I don't eat enough,
Mhm.
but then it stopped. That cycle for me, the food noise stopped, and so I started to feel like, okay, I can eat now. You know what I mean? So
So
yeah,
it kind of smoothed everything out.
it smoothed out like the highs and the lows. I think that's that's definitely what I was experiencing is like I had these huge highs, huge lows, and now I feel like I can eat more stable, and I feel so much more balanced, I guess. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's interesting that you brought up the food noise.
Yeah. Also like the late night snacks, because like I don't go out much anymore. So I'll be snacking all day in the pantry, watching Netflix. It's just eating or whatever. So like it stops my snacking a lot. Like, I actually like eat when I'm full and have like a good meal instead of like eating and then eat. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the snacking was a big deal for me. Like it become like a habit of always having something in my mouth. And
Yeah.
I find too that sugar it's like a soda isn't attractive anymore, or like a candy bar. Like I used to like, really want those, but now I taste them and they don't even taste good. So has it changed your taste buds too?
Yes, it changed my taste buds. And I think like no one realized sugar is one of the highest addiction, like, and if you could like quit sugar addiction, it will help. And I can never quit my sugar addiction. I think that's like the hardest addiction, like to be honest.
Yeah.
And this has helped my sugar addiction and intake a lot. And even white rice turn into sugar. So a lot of Asian do develop diabetes from eating white rice all the time.
Yeah.
So like I'm like more self-aware, and then like and then after a while of like not craving sugar, you don't really I don't really eat candy the same. It's like it doesn't taste the same to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just, it doesn't taste good anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, even Rusty notices that I used to always have a hidden chocolate bar or something.
Yeah.
Now they
She would hide them. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
like a snack drawer.
Yeah,
snack drawer,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, but it was her personal snack drawer. Like the kids could never find it. She had her own stash all the time, you know.
And so now if I do, I still buy them because I'm still always tempted, but
Yeah.
they're just not interesting. So the snack drawer is full. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what would you say to someone that's thinking about doing this?
I say go for it. I mean,
Yeah.
I recommend it. Like, I mean, because I don't feel like if I've never tried something, I wouldn't. But I recommend it. I mean, my coworkers are on it. A lot of my friends are on it, and I just feel like it changed a lot of us in different ways. You know, because all of us struggle with self-image one way or another with social media and all that stuff. And if you could do something about it, why not? You know, so I would highly recommend
You
it.
highly recommend it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people maybe are concerned about the price, you know, because it's not cheap, you know. You think it's worth it even for the money?
Yes,
Yeah.
because it's kind of like an investment.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I feel like if you invest in yourself and then it gives you that confidence. I mean, like, I think it's worth the money. I mean, we all go get our nails done, Botox and all that
Yeah.
stuff. This could actually change your whole lifestyle
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how you
Yeah.
food and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Well, it sounds like for you, it literally was a life transformation. Right?
Yes.
I know there was other things going on,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to claim that semaglutide totally fixed your life or anything, but you fixed your life.
Yeah. You
But it
fixed
sounds like
yeah.
the decision to take semaglutide was part of that journey.
Yes. Because
Right.
I rehab fixed my addiction, therapy fixed my relationship with my kids, and this helped my relationship with food
Yeah.
and how I feel about myself. And
Yeah.
and I'm more motivated to get up. I'm more motivated to go out and do new things. And I want to go back to the gym because, like, you know, like I need to. And you start to like set goals towards yourself more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was going to say that when you mentioned that you did, it's an investment. I don't know if you feel this way, but as a mom, I felt like I had to kind of put my investments on the back burner for my kids. And then for me, the big thing was, it's like when I started to invest in myself, I just said, I'm worth it. You know, like, I don't know if you had the same experience, but it was a step forward for me to say, I'm important. I have needs, you know, and that kind of thing. And so redirecting the money just gave me just validated every time I did take the shot that I'm worth it. You know what I mean? I don't know if you have that same kind of thing, but
Yeah, I do that with like I give myself little rewards because I feel like sometimes since I changed my life, I work a lot. So I feel like, okay, if I do this, I do things to adjust how I see. Because if I close my eyes, I see a different me, and then I was battling with like what I see in the mirror, and it's not
Yeah.
it's not aligning. So I would invest in like things like that, and I feel like when you invest in yourself, you feel loved, and kind of like a self-care. To me, it's like self-care.
yeah, totally.
But yeah,
Yeah.
and then when you feel good, you give love more differently too. Because
Yeah.
you know, I'm more happy about my kids. I'm more happy with Jesse. I'm more active
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And then because like sometimes like since I'm a single mom, Jessie would feel like it's a burden. If like she always feel like she's a burden, which she's not. So if I start to let myself go, she feels like, okay, I'm paying for her school. That's why I'm not doing this. So I kind of like work ways to reward myself, so she could feel like it's a reward too. You know, because
Yeah. Yeah, I think the same thing you were saying earlier about how when you're in therapy, she triggered you and you triggered your hurt people hurt.
yeah.
And so I think when we take the time to invest in ourselves, it inspires our children or people around us to do the same. So I think that's a good observation that you made. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because Jessie will say, it's not fair. I'm not 18. I can't do this. I have to go to the gym. And I was like,
yeah.
because she sees
Yeah.
how much I've changed, and like I actually like feel confident. I'm happy and all that stuff. And she goes, and she would like, I was like, it's okay. Like, yeah, she talks about that all the time because she's like, it's not fair that I have to go to the gym and you. I was like, I know, but when you're 18, you can make that decision yourself. But like,
I feel like once you get a little bit older, those methods aren't as effective. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, I know of my daughters, when they gain a few pounds, they can go back to the gym and quickly just lose the weight. But
Yeah.
as you get older, you have more responsibility and you
Yeah.
have your hormones start to slow down. So it's a little bit more difficult for
Yeah.
us to get those kind of, results, don't you think?
yes, and every time I invest in myself in something, my daughter would match that energy.
Yeah.
And she would like do it. So yeah, so it's funny because like I doing this while she's going to the gym, and we kind of like balance each other out because she see the confidence and she's confident, you know. So yeah,
Yeah, one thing that's been fun for us is our daughter, Abby.
Mhm.
She's going to the gym a lot, and she was one of the people that inspired us to keep going to the gym during the semi-glutide.
Yeah.
So I just love how, your daughter inspires you to do things, and then Abby gets us out to the gym. So it really is kind of a family thing. Like you were saying with your addiction, if you don't change your family, your culture,
Yeah.
then you're kind of going to always go back to those same habits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Tell
think
us, tell us more about that.
part of change is recognizing the pattern,
Mhm.
and then you can't change what already happened, but you can always like make better choices to like not have it continue to the next generation. And I don't see a lot of Asian in therapy or like in rehab, and because I don't know for most Asian, but for me, I was raised, emotion is not something that you lean towards because it's usually about survival mode in our family.
Mhm.
And so like when I got my daughter, she came back into my life, I wanted to shift that pattern
Yeah.
to show her that she is loved emotionally, physically, and all that stuff. Because in our culture, we were first generation in America. So I understand that my parents have to like always constantly work to provide for us. And it was weird because when I got Jessie back, I just barely got on my feet.
Oh, right.
So it's like the same pattern repeats, but in different scenarios. I was like, okay, how am I going to do this and like change what had happened? So that's when I talked Jessie into going to therapy and talk her into all this stuff and change the pattern so it doesn't continue on again. And
Yeah. I remember one story you told me that I was totally inspired by, where how you got into your apartment. Wasn't it like perfect timing because you were going to get Jessie back, and then you actually got the ability to get your own apartment, so things all came together?
Yes.
And tell us about that. That's cool.
It's all like timing. Like I say, like when you're on the right path, everything just happened for a reason. And that's why I'm so spiritual, because as soon as I got my apartment, I broke up with one of my ex that I met in rehab, and I thought we bonded because we both want to change our life and all that stuff. But there's a reason why you don't date in rehab, because like you were looking for that connection and all stuff. So I broke up with him, and then exactly 5 months after that, Jessie went through an event, and she wanted to come live with me.
Mhm.
And it was like perfect. It was just us two, and then I have a bedroom for her and all that stuff. So it just, everything just lined up, because I think if at that moment when Jessie needed me the most to do what she wanted, and I can't really share her story because it's her story to share, but when she needed me at that moment, if I didn't have the resources that I have and the place and all that stuff, I think it would have been harder for me to change my life.
Yeah.
But since I was able to do all that and provide for Jessie and lay out and give her the resources, it kind of like inspired me to like keep doing what I need to do, because
Mhm.
I got a second chance to be there when she really needed me,
Yeah.
And I was really sure I can't change what I've done, but I guess like to heal abandonment wound is consistent, so I was always consistently showing up and constantly following through what I say I was going to do.
Yeah.
And then I also have to show up for myself too.
Yeah.
That way she didn't see that I'm burnt out. And
Mhm.
so it's like everything was just perfect timing.
Yeah,
So,
that's amazing. Have you ever heard of the book of Les Mis?
no,
Oh, have you seen the show?
not yet.
Well, it's a story about a guy who has a bad past, and then right when he is going to go return to the bad past, the priest gives him these candlesticks, and the candlesticks changed his whole life. And I think that it seems like, so that's one thing that we talk about all the time, is that it seems like you have been given many candlesticks. Like Sammy gave you candlesticks. Getting into an apartment was candlesticks. And so I just think that's really neat. That did I explain that well enough for the?
I think people that know the story of Les Mis will understand the reference to candlesticks. So just to quickly summarize, the candlesticks were made of silver, right? And so he could sell them and use the money to restart his life. The main character could restart his life, right?
Yeah.
And it's a gift that came at the right moment so that he could change his life. And listening to your story, it sounds like there's several moments where a gift arrived, right?
Yes, at
You
the
know,
right
apartment,
time.
at the
yeah,
right
your
time,
apartment, your job.
Yeah.
You decide to turn yourself in.
Yeah. Even like during
semi-glutide.
the because like when I start doing nails again, I forget everything. With everything, you have to retrain yourself. So when Sammy hired me, I could only do certain aspect of the nail job, but not
Mhm.
all of it.
Yeah.
And during the pandemic, for some reason, it was like the worst time. Everyone quit, and
Oh,
it was it's just Sammy and I. So I was at like kind of like shift me to work harder, and it's kind of like during the worst thing, something else happened. I actually further my my aspect and my strength, I became like the main nail tech after that,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
So I learned new skills and better skills and all that stuff. So yeah, so I feel like it does happen like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A gift from heaven. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I picked up on while the two of you were talking is that, and I like that phrase, that hurt people,
Yeah.
And but if you kind of flip that around, it's like healthy people heal people. You know
Yes.
what I mean? So it's like you can have this vicious cycle and go downward, or you can flip that around and have this virtuous cycle and go up and up. And it sounds like you've successfully flipped that, which is an amazing story.
Yeah,
It's so
really.
hard to get out of these negative swirls
Yeah.
and cycles that people are in. And you've done it, and you've flipped that around. And it sounds like you're kind of in this virtuous cycle now in your life, where it's like you're helping your daughter and she's helping you back, and you're just inspiring each other, and we're meeting people and we're helping each other. So it's really an amazing story that you've shared with us, and I'm glad that you were willing to be vulnerable and share that with us, because it's very inspiring.
Yes.
So,
I think it's because how I feel now when I look in the mirror and how what I've been through, I'm able to comfortably share. But if I didn't shift that whole aspect, I think I would not be comfortable, because sometimes it's harder to share your story when you don't feel like you have. I mean, like right now, I'm like at the beginning where I'm gonna like shift to a new perspective and like set new goals and all that stuff. But yeah, like I'm like a new person inside out, if that makes sense. I'm like, so it's easier to like share that, because I don't feel like I resonate with it no more. I mean, it's still part of me, but it's not who I am no more.
Yeah.
But before I lost the weight, it's still part of me because I see it and it's like a reminder. But now, like, I could look back at it and not have to be back there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
A total transformation. That's amazing.
Yeah, I find that too. Is like, I don't know, but I did hide. Like I didn't want to be in any pictures. I didn't want to. I would wear black to try to, But now I feel more confident in going outside. I get dressed every day. I get my makeup on. And it's just so much more fun. So yeah, and I definitely don't want to. It is a part of me, but I'm just glad that I'm in a different spot now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the whole reason we decided to do this business is because we met you.
Yeah.
We saw the results that you were getting. Just like your other clients, we thought to ourselves, what is she doing that's working so well?
And not only did we meet her, we connected with her.
We connected with her.
Yeah, like I remember those moments at the nail salon where, we just developed a little friendship,
Yeah.
And we would we traveled a lot.
Yeah.
To get to there because of Sammy.
Yeah. And so we decided to take a chance, and we didn't know the detail of how you were doing what you're doing, but we decided to try it, and we found a provider. And so we started doing semaglutide, and we had similar symptoms like what you had, the nausea and things like that. And we lost some weight, and then we kind of got to a plateau.
Yeah.
And then we switched over to a new version of the drug called tirzepatide, which has been better for us, fewer symptoms.
Yeah.
And so we're losing weight still again. And so we thought, this is so amazing that, our life is changing, and we're meeting people that they're changing their lives through this. And we thought other people need to know about this, right?
Yeah.
And we thought to ourselves, well, we can just be consumers of this, and, or we could maybe start a business around this, and help other people get access to these medications and start to see changes in their life too, right? So that's what we decided to do. And to help promote that business, we decided to do this podcast. And the name of the podcast, again, is Weight Loss Fight Club. And we liked that word fight because I think you're a fighter, and you've really shown us how you were able to fight against very challenging circumstances.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Like, how many times do you hear a story like this? Where somebody is in such despair and in such a bad situation, and they fight their way out and they win.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's an amazing story. And we're so glad you shared that with us. And we hope that other people, when they hear your story, that they will be encouraged and inspired to fight too, whatever their situation is. Everyone has a battle,
Yes.
and we hope that they'll listen to your story and that they'll want to fight. And for many people, I think weight gain is part of that battle. You know what I mean? And it wasn't everything, right? I'm not trying to pretend that semaglutide, sort of like fixed your family situation or anything like that. But it was part of it, right? It was part of that story, right? And so we hope that for people that are listening to this podcast, that they'll be inspired, and that they will maybe take some courage to give it a try. What's it sounds like it wasn't that hard to do. It wasn't all that expensive in the
No.
end. The trade-offs were worth it. You managed a little bit of nausea. We managed the situation.
Mhm.
And there's been such incredible benefits in our personal lives. So I guess that's our message for the audience today is that if you're looking for a change in your life and you're a little bit overweight or maybe you've got a lot of extra weight that you need to lose, this could be an important step for you is to figure out how to get your weight under control. Because it, like you said a couple times, spiritual, physical, emotional, these are all connected, right?
Yes.
And if people are looking for a place to start, maybe the weight management is
It's the first.
the first step.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, well, thank you for your time today, Lo.
Yeah. Thank you
We've
so
really
much.
appreciated you coming and speaking with us today. And as always, you continue to